Hey everybody, Joe again here. Just making my round 2 video here, and as promised today I'm going to be talking about my diet style. I'd just like to really point out the disclaimer on this one. I'm not trying to claim that my dietary style fixes cystinuria or helps out with cystinuria, but people always ask, what kind of diet are you on, to try to compare the differences between maybe going on a vegetarian diet, a protein-free diet, less protein diet, whatever. So just to show how dynamic cystinuria can affect people, whether or not you're on a specific diet, I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that I eat and go through, which is really interesting because I'm sure some of the moms that watch my video are going to look down and shame upon me because I live a pretty college kid style diet. So, first off, I'm on a diet called paleo. It's actually eating like the caveman would. It's primarily a gluten-free diet, first off, so there's limited to no grains, especially no wheat. Every now and then, of course, I have my little cheat days where I really want a cupcake or a slice of cake or something, but I try to avoid that because it just ends up not being fun in the end for me. But it's a very high protein diet. I eat nothing but pretty much animal fats, including meats, lots of the veggies that have methionine, and also eggs. I eat eggs, egg whites, egg yellows, scrambled eggs, whatever you want to eat. Egg-wise, I eat all the time. In fact, that's probably my primary staples are eggs and bacon all the time, are a big paleo staple, which is awesome because it's cheap and easy to make, especially for a college kid who has a small kitchen and a small apartment that doesn't have a lot of money in it. But anyways, I've seen a lot of people that always say, oh, a vegetarian diet helps because since you're decreasing the amount of methionine in it, it's actually helping you, to decrease it. And it doesn't exactly work that way with solubility. I can tell you that much, at least by what I've been recommended by my doctors, is that just because you have an amount added doesn't necessarily mean it gets added to your stone formations, especially if you're on Thiola or thiopropin, and especially if you have a high alkalization in your urine and you have a high water intake. Even if you have an increase of something like that, including other forms of stones too, it's not supposed to affect it. So even if you're still getting them after dropping that, there could be other issues. It really doesn't relate a lot to diet, and that's why it's such a weird thing to talk about in a video about a diet, because this is kind of one of those videos that really isn't a helpful thing. It's not advice-wise. It's just showing you what I do in comparison to everyone else. So I can pretty much debunk the fact that diet really doesn't help anything because everyone has a different reaction to how cystinuria affects them. So it may actually help someone to decrease that because they have a difference in their genome that causes an increase in methionine, and the solubility just doesn't stay in a state to where you can just pass it as non-granular, non-stone formulated cysteine. Sorry, I'm a little derpy today. But the biggest, hugest thing with cystinuria is always water. These right here are handy and dandy. I don't know if they have Sonic over in Europe or not, but I know they're nationwide in the United States. But these are awesome because you can get an even bigger one than this called the Route 44, which is like this big and a little bit wider. But it's really cool because you can get these and reuse them and reuse them and reuse them. And they're a very large drink. So I drink anywhere from 5 to 10 liters of liquids a day. And notice how I don't say just water, because it doesn't have to be straight up water. Obviously, it's much better for your system to do straight up water. I drink diet sodas though, orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice, tons of other things. I mean, mostly caffeine to keep me going, to keep me crazy, keep me sane, so that way I don't yell at people all day. But these are great for when you're refilling them with water, because when you partialize it out like this, instead of trying to get these huge jugs to drink out of, it seems a little unbearable to drink that much water a day, especially since you're running back and forth to the bathroom and having to pee all the time. It doesn't really play out too well to have these big 2-liter gallon jugs that you're carrying around. it's much easier just to kind of partialize it out throughout the day, so that way you don't feel so overwhelmed. That's my biggest recommendation for people who are trying to figure out how they can consume that much water realistically. That's the way to do it. And whenever somebody tries to tell you, oh, it's not good to drink that much water for you, I can also debunk that fact. There's no such thing as too much water for you, especially when you have cystinuria. As long as you're doing things to get that water out of your system, such as regular exercise, and also making sure you go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom. Because if you let it sit there, that's when it gets bad for you, and that's what actually causes people to have problems when they overconsume on water. Now, I don't recommend going out and drinking 15 to 20 liters of water a day, but the normal 5 to 10 liters of water a day that I do has never affected me, ever. You will see water weight gain. You can't prevent that with cystinuria. I mean, you need to always be hydrated, and overly hydrated at that too, to keep the cystine in solution inside of your kidney, inside of your bladder, because that's when you have formation of stones, is when you don't have enough solution of water mixed with the cystine problems in your kidney and your bladder, is when you get stone formation. And that's where you get these issues where you're passing 10 to 12, 20, God forbid, 30 stones a day, is when you're dehydrated. I can almost guarantee that's a lot of the issues with people, is not well enough intake of water. But yeah, so that's kind of, this will be a shorter video compared to some of the rest of them. If you have any questions about some of the diet stuff, I mean, I did it to lose weight, and now it's become my lifestyle. If you have any questions and you want to know more about it, just ask me, send me a message on Facebook, on Google+, on YouTube, whatever. Or if you think you have something cystinuria related to diets, please share the information with me. I'm not offended if somebody wants to disagree with me or wants to say, hey, well, I heard this. That's what the point of these videos are, and that's what the point of the ICF page on Facebook is about, is to let everyone know what we've all heard, so we can try to get to some conclusion about something, because it just gets overwhelming. I'm there with all of you when I can say that it gets overwhelming. But keep in mind, I'm going to be doing these videos weekly, so keep on the lookout next week. Next week, I think I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the hospital side of cystinuria, maybe some procedures that I've had, or procedures that I know a little bit about, so that way people from the outside, maybe that you're sharing these videos with, or that happen to stumble upon these, can kind of see why it's such an issue, and why it's affecting a lot of people's lives very negatively. And maybe next week I'll be shaved too, just as a fun bonus for you. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to send me a message, and thanks. Bye-bye.